At the beginning of the calendar year in 1965, I was 20 and I was a junior at Illinois State University. I had moved off campus, having moved from the 10-story dorms, which was a place that had the passion pit, penny raids, and candlelight ceremonies, to a place where I was living with 7 other women. Of course, we were locked up at night at 10 o'clock by our landlady. In March 1975, I was still working for social science professors. One of the graduate students, who also worked for them, asked me in a sort of casual way whether or not I wanted to go to Selma with him to participate in the civil rights marches. I declined, but one of his big problems was trying to decide whether or not to take his car from Illinois to the South. Of course, the logo for Illinois cars is Land of Lincoln. The Selma marches were successful to the extent that the Voting Rights Act was passed in summer 1965. Also in March 1965, the first ground troops went to Vietnam. 3,500 Marines, I think. By the end of 1965, they were joined by tens of thousands of other men on the ground. The only thing I can say for myself during this time, as far as the memory, is I had a friend who had a boyfriend who was in the Marines and was sent to Vietnam. All I could say is, Vietnam, where's that? That's how knowledgeable I was, and I'm afraid I wasn't alone. In summer 1965, I went to work at a resort in Michigan that was primarily a Jewish resort. The employees were women who were college students from the north and black men from the south who were seasonal workers. The women were waitresses and the men were busboys. I worked in the office. The women could use the resort pool, but the black men could not. By the end of the summer, I can say I learned a lot about those who were raised in religion that I was not raised in, and about issues of Southern blacks. I can also say the profile song for the summer was I Can't Get No Satisfaction. In fall 1965, I was a senior at Illinois State University. I started my senior year by doing my student teaching in Chicago at a school which was 3 times the size of my small rural town that I grew up in downstate Illinois. I didn't mind teaching, but I couldn't picture myself being in a teacher's lounge for the rest of my life. I turned 21 during that student teaching experience in the fall, but as I went back to complete the rest of my senior year, I knew I didn't want to be a teacher, and that's what I was training for. What was I going to be? I didn't know, but that's how 1965 ended for me.